Welcome back to the Stephen Knight Show. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We are finally back after our summer break, much deserved summer break. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But tonight we're going to talk about all the hot topics we didn't get a chance to discuss because we were vacationing and working. But we're going to get into those later on. I want to remind you all over social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course our official website, thestephennightshow.com. We're also on TikTok, so check us out. We also have a new segment later on in the show that we'll be introducing called HBCU Money. William Foster will discuss different economic information each month that will help benefit the African-American community. Now, we know we have merch, so check out our merch at StephenKnightShow.com. This is National Suicide Prevention Month. Where I work, there's a woman who, her husband, he lost his life due to suicide 2 years ago. And he was prominent here in Atlanta. And we had our administrative meeting on Monday. And so they showed a video of her and her family discussing the father and his legacy and bringing awareness to suicide. And one thing I took away from that, she spoke afterwards, that if anyone ever mentions suicide, I don't care how small it is, but they mention it as relates to themselves, do not ignore it. That's a sign. Her husband in this particular case had no signs that we could tell he was a happy guy, didn't struggle for any mental health issues that were obvious, and she actually worked in that field. So the fact she felt that she couldn't save her husband, but she wants to save other people, so definitely don't ignore the signs. So if you or anybody you know is struggling in that department, definitely call 988. There are resources and people who can help you and just help you deal with this. Right. This is also the I'm sorry to laugh about that. I have a new puppy we'll also talk about later, so he's making noises with his toy. But this is also the 22nd anniversary of the 9/11, the deadly attacks, 9/11. I'm gonna throw it to you, Linnea and Keke, because you all live closer to New York than I do. I'm about to get that toy. And tell us about your thoughts when you think back, because this is one of those times you'll never forget where you were, what you were doing when it all happened. So you mind telling us, you know, what's your thoughts on this day?
The only word that I can describe is just disbelief. And just being, worried about the people, that I know personally in New York. I can't say that I was affected like close personally, like some people that I know. But for that to happen in that space, it's just, it still kind of, it still kind of brings a certain amount of emotion, for all the people who lost, people in their lives, and all they were doing was going to work that day, or all they were doing were they were catching a flight, minding their business, to get to wherever they were going, and and that happened. So all I can say is it's still disbelief.
Yeah. It was a time where the nation came together. It was one of the times we were all united and, America strong. Keke, what were your thoughts when you think back of that time?
I would like to talk about that actual day, if you will let me have that time. I just got to work. It was a regular day. Grabbed the coffee and the bagel, and you hit the office. Just a regular day. And I just sat down, and I was getting ready to get comfortable. My boss says, "Come look at the TV." And everybody was gone already. Everybody else, I was the only one in the office. So I'm straggling in, but why does he want me to look at the TV? I see what looks like a plane in the house. And I'm like, oh, that's horrible. Like a plane crashed into a house. And then the camera started to pan back. And then I saw that it was the the World Trade Center. And then I was like, wow. And then as we're watching it, the second one came and hit. And that was like we all just like hit the floor. Like that was horrible. I can't even explain. It felt like somebody punched me in my gut. And they told us all to go home. Everything was suspended, go home. And I was working in Philadelphia at the time. living in Jersey. So I have to catch a train that goes over a bridge to get me back to the island of New Jersey. So getting down onto the train, right? The train is a tube and it's filled to capacity, like to the doors are like shedding on people's noses. And I found the opportunity to get on the train. And as the doors were shedding, it was like the month before, Aaliyah had died. And the lady, as the doors were shedding, and the lady said to me, you know, overcrowding is why Aaliyah died. And that was the last thing I heard as the door shut. I was like, are you kidding me? And so my day was just filled with sorrow. I was already sad about Aaliyah, but like that, like, New York hasn't been right since, in my opinion. It just hasn't been the same. Still New York, but it's not the same.
Yeah. Well, you know, nearly 3,000 people lost their lives that day. But again, it was a time when we were united. Rudy Giuliani, he was revered. Sad to see where he's gone to now, but our thoughts and prayers are definitely with the people who lost loved ones that day, everyday workers, first responders, the heroes that stopped the plane from crashing into the White House. But since his lives, I saw the story of this woman. She had just married her husband. They had been married 11 days and he died in one of the towers. And she actually one of the people that fought for the memorial for them. So anyway,
we'll be remiss if we don't mention that some people honestly believe that this is not real. Like, that's not a real thing that happened.
Right.
Like, God bless you. I wish you well, but it really happened.
It really happened. Yeah. Well, again, our thoughts and prayers with everyone who was impacted by that terrible tragedy. All right. Well, switching gears, like I said, this is we're coming off summer break. I know I had a great summer. Linnea, how was your summer? You doing anything great?
I survived.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Can I just touch on something real quick? You brought up the conversation about your coworker and her husband and him committing suicide. I was in a dark space and I had made some comments. And it's real when you're going through stuff. And I'm not saying that I'm completely out of it, but I'm better than I was. But I will say this. I had an ex-boyfriend commit suicide when he was 19 and he shot himself in the head. So it's real. So how I was feeling this summer, I wasn't myself. I'm feeling like I'm getting back to that. And you know, I want to say, I just want to take the time to acknowledge, because I want to keep it light. I just want to take the time to acknowledge Keke. You know, and he goes through his own separate things, but you know, we do our best to be there for each other, even when we don't want people there. My girlfriend Shell, Shantae, and please let me acknowledge his name before he kills me. My boyfriend Shantae. Out of all the people, you know, of course, I cannot not talk to him.
Right. Yeah.
So I just want to say, baby, I love you. Thank you for being, you know, my rock. Thank you for being a light. Thank you for being a voice. And I thank all of y'all, you know, especially, you know, my inner circle, for even loving me when I didn't love myself, when I don't love myself, when I'm mad at myself. Thank you for loving me. And that I'm blessed. So the summer was a time for, you know, reflection and digging myself out of where I put myself, because we put ourselves in those dark places. So I just want to say thank you.
We're glad that you are getting out of that and that you have the support, love and support. We love you, but you have the love and support that you need, and we'll definitely keep you uplifted in prayer. Definitely. Keke, how was your summer?
Oh, it was fabulous.
Good.
I did a little traveling, but more importantly, like my sister, it was a time of self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm getting to know a different phase of me. Whoever said getting grown, was a thing, you're constantly growing. You're never grown. You're always
Absolutely.
growing. So yeah, I'm in a growing phase. I'm getting to know this new person.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I just briefly touching on what Nia had brought up. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, told me that he had been feeling depressed lately. And I was telling him back in March, like every year for my birthday is March 20th. I always, especially in the last maybe 10 years or so, I start getting anxiety and thinking, oh my God, I'm getting older, I'm getting close to death. Especially I think since my mom passed is when it really started happening.
Mm.
But I told myself this year that I'm going to stop doing that and that I'm going to start feeding into myself, improving myself in all areas of my life. And so what I've been doing, I listen to something positive or motivational or spiritual in the morning, and that's how I end my night. I need to write down 3 to 4 things I'm grateful for every day, and I'm constantly just having positive conversations. And I think what happens is, we all go through life, and life is not always easy, but you have to strengthen your foundation so that if you do fall and when you fall, it's not as hard to get back up. So please do what you can for your own mental health. I also have a therapist. I'm big on therapy. But those things, and some people, they struggle harder than others, but there are resources and things you have to do for yourself to keep yourself in a good place. Because what you say about yourself, what you read about yourself or say, speak is what you're going to believe. So sometimes even when you're not in the mood to hear it, put on that motivational thing. There are a lot of great things on YouTube. I listen to this affirmations for Black men. It's great. It is great. I listen to it every morning when I'm getting ready to go to the gym. So do what you have to do for yourself, for sure.
Thank you, Essence. That's my therapist.
Yes, shout out to Essence. My summer was great. I actually went to Jamaica this summer. I went to Montego Bay for my homeboy's 40th birthday. I went to this museum. They had 2 main what's it called? Two main displays,
Exhibits.
Attraction.
exhibits. Yes, one was about the history of slavery in Jamaica. Talk about the original Jamaicans and how Africans got to Jamaica. I did not know Christopher Columbus started the slave trade. I did not know that. Learned that there. Also, the second exhibit was about the history of Rastafarians and what they represent, why they wear the dreads, the hair, the way they do. It was really a great information. I love not information anyway, but it was great. So, and then I visited my dad in mid-August for his 71st birthday. He's still crazy as ever. We had a great time, my brothers and my dad and some of my nieces. And then you hear the noise in the background. I got a puppy, Jules, who I looked up. He is well behaved. He doesn't get into much stuff. He doesn't bark a lot, and he's potty trained. I potty trained him in a couple of days. So thanks to YouTube University. But so it was a good summer.
I knew you was going to be a dad again. I knew it was
said
coming.
that on the Instagram. I saw that. Yeah. It's been 7 years. It was 7 years, but and I was like, what did I get myself into? But it's been great. It's been great. All right. Well, our question of the day is: what is the most difficult thing about dating? Keke.
Oh, me first.
Yes.
You know what? Me. I'm the most difficult thing about dating these days. Yeah, it's me.
Okay.
I'm the problem. This one.
Do you ever feel like that though? That you are the problem? Like
No, dead ass. Dead ass.
Yeah. Because we all get in our own way sometimes. I was wondering because some people think it's everyone else.
And you know what? I'm gonna tell you, for those that quick little therapy session. When you've been single for too long, it is hard to make the adjustment to consider someone else.
Yes.
When you've been considering just numero uno for so long, it's a problem. I'm working on it.
My aunt was told me a book about this years ago. She said the longer you're single, the harder it is to
mingle,
do life with people. You know what I mean? So yeah, Lenny, I know you're not single, but what would you? I'm sure you may have girlfriends or guy friends that are single. What have you heard or seen as the biggest problem or hardest part?
So prior to my relationship, and we've been together 7 years now.
Yeah.
But prior to that, I was single for 10 years.
Mm.
So, the issue that I found is that with the inception of the internet, it just created another dynamic of foolishness that you have to learn to filter through. And of course, you're trying to filter through the BS, but so many people live their lives online that they start to believe their own shit.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to living in the real world, they're like a fish out of water. They don't know. People do not know how to effectively communicate anymore.
Right.
People do not know how to engage just in just general normal conversation. Everything is just ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And then people have these preconceived notions because now you have these people online that you've interacted with, and it's like, well, if they do it, then you do it.
Right.
You do. I don't know you. You're not even gonna know where I live at. I don't know what you're saying. What you mean cook for you?
What's that term that we said, Lanier? What's it called? Like microwave connections?
The microwavable stuff that people want now. And then it's like they jump from, I mean, y'all see it online. Somebody can post that they in a relationship on Monday with one person and they all, the love of my life. And by Wednesday, now you get these subliminal memes. Well, the Lord said, if it ain't for me, don't hold on to it. But I'm being faithful and I'm trusting the Lord. And by Friday, this my boo. We together. Like I feel like I've known him for forever. You don't even know his real name.
Right. Yeah.
But y'all done mashed yams already and all kinds of stuff. Y'all done commingled and did soul ties and all kinds of stuff. Then you wonder why y'all crazy because y'all letting any dude run up in you and you putting your thing in any chick. Yo, soul ties is real. And connecting yourself to these people that you don't know is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good in the fact that I don't have to filter through no BS no more. I am very, very grateful. But talking to my friends who are still single, how do I keep telling them to be positive and optimistic when I'm seeing it with them and we talking about it all the time? How do I say that to y'all? Like, oh well, you just gotta keep the faith. And I'm like, why am I lying to my friend that I'm supposed to love?
All right.
Because it ain't it out here.
Right. Yeah. I think, like you said, with the internet, there's so many options. And people will hit you up on anything. LinkedIn, we already know social media. They will hit you up in them DMs. So I think
no bounds.
Yeah. And it used to be your area where you lived in, that's where your dating pool. But now it can be anywhere. It can be anywhere. I heard this woman at my job, she flew out to Spain or Paris or somewhere, some man she met. So anyway.
Who doing it?
Well, everybody getting flued out.
Everybody getting flued out?
Yep. Well, tweet us on X and let us know what's the most thing about dating. All right, we'll get into some of these hot topics we weren't able to discuss because we're on break. But let's talk about the Montgomery Brawl. All right, so on August 5th, 2023, a large-scale altercation took place at the Riverfront Dock in downtown Montgomery, Alabama. The incident gained significant media attention due to its violent nature, the racial undertones, and Montgomery's racially charged history. On August 5th at 7 p.m., the riverboat Harriet II was carrying 227 passengers, returned to the Riverfront Park dock on the Alabama River in Montgomery, Alabama. In an interview with CNN, the captain, a white man of the Harriet II, stated that the vessel had just completed its 5 to 7 cruise, and the captain explained that there was a pontoon boat that prevented the exit from exit ram because they were pretty much in front where they're supposed to dock. So the riverboat captain attempted to get the pontoon's operators to move their boat, but they did not. The passengers on the Harriet shouted at them to move the boat after failing to get the pontoon boat owner to move for 45 minutes. The African-American co-captain, they kept saying security guard, but it was a co-captain, and a unidentified 16-year-old white male deckhand were transported to the dock to move the pontoon. The co-captain provided a written statement to the police stating that he untied the pontoon boat from the dock, moving it 3 steps to the right with the assistance of the deckhand. They were then confronted by the owner. Now, the video of the incident showed individuals arguing with the co-captain. A short time later, he was assaulted by a white man who shouted at him not to touch the boat. The two then began to fight, and then another white man and white woman of the private boat also attacked the co-captain. Video shows multiple individuals, white and black, attempting to break up the initial assault. A white dock owner was also assaulted. The initial assault was broken up less than a minute. Arguments and fights with the Harriet 2 workers continued. A black teenager was filmed swimming across the river to the dock. He arrived at the dock after the initial assault was defused. Moments later, he fought with 2 white men and pushed a white woman. Then the Harriet docked to, when it docked, crew members disembarked and confronted the initial assailants, which led to another altercation. The co-captain went towards this fight, grabbed someone, and walked the person back to the Harriet 2. At the Harriet 2, bystanders and individuals connected to the initial assault began arguing and punching each other. A black man used a folding chair to hit a white man and a white woman who had been punched and knocked down by multiple black women. Some white people were thrown into the river. Police also contacted at 7 p.m. and again at 7:15 p.m. arrived to the scene about 7:18. The prominent racial lines of the fighting led allegations that the assailants were racially motivated in their attack. Now, in the aftermath, the immediate aftermath of the brawl saw 13 individuals detained and questioned, including the co-captain, who was hit by a police taser, but subsequently released. Montgomery Police Chief Derry J. Albert confirmed that the arrest warrants for the 3 involved in the incident. Arrest warrants were expanded to another woman and a man hitting people with the chair. All 5 surrendered to the police station the following week. Now, this went viral. The video went viral. People were kind of celebrating the fact how that co-captain threw his head up there. They said that's a back signal, and people came from all over to his defense. When you all saw this video, I don't know how many times you watched it. I watched it probably about 100 times. When you saw this video, what were your thoughts, Linnea?
So there were 2 songs that came to mind.
One, right. Well, one is they did actually saw him based this called Montgomery Brawl, but go ahead.
But for me,
okay,
the first one was Swing Low, Sweet Chariot, coming for to carry me home. The other one was Michael Jackson's Come Together. Right now, over me. Those were 2 songs I initially thought about. And all I know is that the heavens opened up and the angels, the ancestors were singing. And of course, I don't condone violence, but you looked around and you found out. It was one of those things. And I hope that the little dude, the little country singer that sung that song, Don't Try That in a Small Town. Yeah. I hope he realizes they tried it in a small town and look what happened.
Mm-hmm. And apparently that that family, the white family, they were known to come into, they didn't live in the area. They were known for coming in the area and causing problems. But the funny thing about it is that they had to be treated at the local hospital, and they didn't want to be treated because most of the staff was Black. But that's who they had to be treated by. Keke, when you saw this, what was your reaction?
So mine is a 2-sided one. I was appalled, disgusted, ashamed, And honestly, I think that a lot of people were delighted to see that go down. And not for some obvious reasons, but for reasons that I won't go into right now. But I think that some people were pleased to see that, because it just approved and gave a thumbs up to everything that everyone ever said about us not being able to get along. We're different. We're always going to clash. You know, we can't get along. We should live separately. All that bogus BS. But at the same time, as my sister said, it was a clear case of effing around and finding out. And when is enough enough? It probably would have gone down without a hitch if they didn't jump that man. If it was just like a one-on-one fight, even if that man lost, that was the end of that. But y'all ganged up on that one man that was just there working, doing his job. And so the community got together and handled you. That's how it normally goes down with us.
Right.
No one wants violence. No one's condoning violence, but you just can't continue to go out here inflicting violence on people because you feel like you want to. That's just not how it's going to go down. That's not it. That's not the move. I'm going to tell you, you're going to fail.
You don't own this. You don't own that.
And this is not the 1950s.
You don't, but if you look at what they're trying to do and all these other states that are trying to pass these different laws, and what?
Right.
And what you want? Oh, you want us to go back to slavery? That's the thing you keep telling us that we need to get over.
Right.
That's what you want to go back to. Interesting, right?
Right. Very much so. All right, well, let's talk about Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson. As you know, Keke Palmer and Darius Jackson were dating. They had a baby boy. And, Keke was getting a lot of love, following the birth of her son. But she went to the Usher's concert, his residency in Vegas. And, he's known for going to women and singing to them, especially high-profile women. And Keke Palmer got her shine. And, of course, it went viral. And her boyfriend took to Twitter at the time and commented on the fact of what she had on. And he said, "You're a mother." And he got a backlash for that. And he said, "Listen, pretty much this is my family. I want my family conducted a certain way, blah, blah, blah." So it caused a conversation over, does he have the right to tell her what she should be wearing? And knowing that this is entertainment, this is what Usher does all his shows, is he's married, should he be jealous? So it was a lot of back and forth conversation around that. So it seemed that they had broken up. She was in one of his latest videos as the video girl, called Boyfriend or something like that. And it didn't really do well. And now all of a sudden you're seeing them together. He was to help celebrate her birthday. They were together at Beyonce's concert recently. So some people are thinking, did we get duped? But let's go back to the conversation about his initial reaction, making it public. Her kind of, she didn't really acknowledge it, straight up, but she kind of did some jabs at it. What are your thoughts on all of this? I'll start with you, Lanier.
In-house business needs to be kept in-house. Y'all live together. You ain't see her leave. You ain't see her get dressed. You ain't know what she was wearing. First of all, she grown. And the double standard of, and Keke is stealing her mom body. We've watched this now grown woman grow up from a little girl. She is no longer that little girl. And she is really embracing her mom bod. And she's getting, this is a different phase in her life. She is a mother. She's a gorgeous mother. I've seen people wear way worse to the grocery store, to be honest. I didn't find anything wrong with it. like I said, he should have had that conversation in-house if he had an issue with it. But to take it to social media, once you put it out there, you can't undo it. And that's the problem. Because if you would have told her at home, we would not have never known. If you had that discussion beforehand about how you feel your family should be, then you would not, him, Darius, he would not have had her in a leopard print, skin tight bodysuit telling her to twerk her ass on social media and smacking it while she doing it. And she had, I'm saying, that was okay. Oh, or you sitting in your drawers posting on social media with your legs cocked open. Did Keke say something to you about that? But you know what? Who am I? I'm poor. I don't have those problems.
And then of course, once he opened that can of worms, Black Twitter went out and digged up his past and found old tweets he did, and raked him over the coals. GK, what are your thoughts on this conversation?
I mean, did you not know you were getting involved with Keke Palmer when you got involved with Keke Palmer? I mean, I really don't think that, not comparing you to Jay-Z or Beyonce, but I really think that what Beyonce's wearing on stage is any of Jay-Z's concern. He's not even thinking about it. You knew your wife was a celebrity. You knew she was going to the concert to see another celebrity. You've seen his shows. You probably have met this man before. You've been in his company probably. I'm going to quote the great district attorney of Fulton County, Georgia, Miss Fonnie Willis. Deal with reality, or reality will deal with you. You should have known what you were getting into. Sit at home, birth the baby, and count the dividends as they come in.
Absolutely.
I think he was happy before she got pregnant and his body became
or he's privy to some news that we don't know about. That's why he's in his emotions.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Pray for everyone involved.
Well, everyone's been comparing Beyonce's tour to Taylor Swift's tour. They're both high grossing. I found this article today. I'm going to read some of it and talk about some of the stats around the tour. So everyone's talking about the biggest movie battle of the year, but no one's talking about the summer's other equally important double feature: Taylor Swift's Ticketmaster Crash and Eras tour versus Beyonce's record-breaking Renaissance tour. Now, they're here at Slate. Slate is the publication. We're not in the habit of putting women against each other, but we are interested in celebrating the massive achievements of two of the most influential entertainers. In order to do that, it's helpful to know just how massive these achievements are, especially when the two tours are projected to become the highest grossing of all time. And maybe you, like many unlikely others, couldn't snag the coveted ticket to one or both, are wondering how they measure up to each other. With the recent announcement of additional extension of Taylor Swift's Eras tour will wind up lasting for a year and a half, and her first date having occurred in March of 2023, and her last, for now at least, set for November 2024. Beyonce, on the other hand, doesn't have time for all that. In addition to being a superstar, she's also a mother. Her Renaissance tour will run from May to October, barring any extensions. All right, so number of tour dates. So Taylor Swift, she's having 146 tour dates. Beyonce's having 56. Average show running time: Taylor 3 hours and 23 minutes, Beyonce 2 hours 29 minutes. Number of songs performed: Taylor Swift 46, Beyonce 35. Costume changes: Taylor Swift 16, Beyonce 9. Number of backup dancers: 16 for Taylor, 23 for Beyonce. And number of mishaps so far: Taylor with 7, Beyonce with only 2. So I've heard a lot of conversation around these two tours. Obviously, probably because they're doing so well. What are your thoughts on this? I'll start with you, Chike.
I mean, the real answer for me is just a marketing ploy to get the fans of each of the women to go out and boost their team, to buy more tickets, to try to sell more. It's business. I don't know what more you want me to say. I mean, and it's a shame that we live in a society where it's always this against that. It's enough room for both those ladies to be golden.
Yeah. Linnea, what are your thoughts?
This has never been a thing before. Never been a thing before. Because they've been on tour before. And somebody didn't have nothing else to do. Decided, you know what? Let's stir up the pot. Because of course, you know, that whole situation with, I don't know, was it the MTV Awards and Taylor winning over her or whatever? You know, let's stir it up because we got to make it seem like this is just my opinion. Taylor's better. No, she's not. But go off. What I can't tell you a Taylor Swift song to save my life.
Yeah.
But you know what? People are going. With her non-dancing stuff, her non-singing stuff, people are going. They are enjoying themselves. They are spending the money.
Yeah.
I could have swore that there was something going on with Ticketmaster at one point, and the president got involved because Ticketmaster were kind of like ripping people completely off. But
Yeah.
I don't.
Exactly. I haven't seen any of them, but I'm going to see Beyonce. Her last show is going to be in Kansas. It's actually a rescheduled show that she had early in the during the tour schedule. So she's making it up. So I'm actually going to that show October 1st. So we'll see what the hype is about. I think it'll be great. I've heard nothing but great things about it. So we'll see. All right, our last story. So everyone's talking about, I'm sorry. All right, ready? Okay. A grand jury in Georgia has indicted former President Donald Trump and 18 allies on the state charges stemming from his efforts to overturn the 2020 electoral defeat in the Peach State. The 41-count indictment was unsealed last month and is the fourth criminal case that Trump is facing. The indictment returned by Fulton County grand jury includes 13 charges against Trump. He now faces a total of 91 charges in 4 criminal cases in 4 different jurisdictions, 2 federal, 2 state. So the question is, why is he able to run for president? Because there's a 14th Amendment that says that he shouldn't be running. So, Chicken, why, in your opinion, he's making more money off of that? You know, he had his first mugshot with this case, made millions off that mugshot. What are your thoughts?
You cannot get me on this particular show and ask me those kind of questions. We will get kicked off. You know, I feel very strongly about these things. And I will say that safety net is wide and vast that holds everything together for him. And that's why it's continuing to be okay and not a threat. But I do feel like justice will prevail no matter what it is. Justice will prevail in the end.
Linnea?
You going to jail. I done said that jail. I don't ride my life. All my life I had to fight. Listen, you know, it might be a coincidence, but these black women ain't playing with this man. They're not playing with this man. Not in Atlanta, not in Georgia, not in New York. Like, they're not playing with you, bruh. Is the judge in Florida black? I'm not sure.
I don't know which one, but there's one they try to get.
There's a black judge. There's a black lady.
Herself. Yeah.
But they're not playing with you. And there's only but so long that security blanket can hold him. That's how I feel. It's only but so long, because when it starts to affect the other people and they bottom line,
right?
What you think gonna happen?
Yeah. What
you think gonna happen? Hey, listen, the mugshot spiked his popularity because, you know, according to certain people, you know, that station over there named after the animal, they said that, you know, he relates to black folks because he got a mugshot now.
Right.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Good luck with it.
Yeah. The crazy thing about it is there was the man, Blacks for Trump. He was over the Blacks for Trump. And
my goodness.
He was one of the 18 people that were indicted, indicted. he was the one that spent the longest time in jail because he couldn't afford the bail to get out.
He's still in there, ain't he?
That part.
He got out.
That
He
part.
got out. But
Yeah, I know the black lady got out. I don't know how she got
Yeah,
out.
he-
I know he
right.
didn't get out.
yeah. So, but before we go, shout out to tennis star Coco Gauff. She won the U.S. Open. She is the youngest person to do it since Serena Williams did it when she was 19 years old. Kudos to her. Congratulations. Keke, Linnea, thank you so much for Hot Topics. Keke, I'll see your movie reviews, and we will be right back after this.